Before the village woke, the hammer was already moving. Metal struck metal, slow, heavy, rhythmic. Sparks jumped in the darkness like tiny stars. A blacksmith leaned over the glowing iron, his face lit by fire that never truly slept. Outside, frost covered the ground. Fields waited for morning. But none of that work could begin yet. Not without tools. A farmer stood nearby, holding a worn plow blade. The edge was thin, almost tired. It had cut soil for years, through rain, drought, and stones hidden beneath the earth. The blacksmith said little. He placed the iron into the fire again. Because in the medieval world, survival began long before planting or harvesting. It began here, in heat, smoke, and patience. Iron shaped everything, and when a tool failed, life slowed with it. Wood had limits. The stone broke. Bone cracked. Bronze bent too easily for heavy labor. But iron endured. It cut deeper into soil. It held sharper edges. It survived blows that shattered other materials. Villages slowly transformed around it. Axes cleared forests faster than before. Plows opened land once considered impossible to farm. Nails held buildings together through storms and winters. Iron didn't just make work easier, it made bigger work possible. Fields expanded. Homes lasted longer. Communities grew stronger because their tools did not fail as quickly. Yet iron was never effortless. Every blade carried hours of heat, hammering, and skill hidden behind its weight. In many homes, tools were passed down like inheritance. A father's sickle moved to his son. A worn knife followed generations. Handles were replaced, edges reshaped. But the iron remained, familiar, trusted. People repaired tools again and again. Nothing was thrown away lightly. A broken axe head meant lost time. A dull plow meant weaker harvests. Even a missing nail could delay repairs before winter. Iron tools were partners, not possessions. They were cleaned, sharpened, hung carefully after work because everyone understood something simple. When tools survived, people survived. Every village had one. The blacksmith rarely worked the fields, yet everyone depended on him. His workshop stood slightly apart, loud, smoky, alive with heat even in winter. People came with problems. A cracked hoe, a bent knife, a horseshoe worn thin from long roads. They waited patiently, watching sparks fly while iron softened and changed shape under the hammer. The blacksmith listened more than he spoke. He knew whose harvest was failing by the urgency in their voice. He knew which farmers worked rocky soil by the damage on their tools. His work was not magic. It was repetition, heat, strike, turn, strike again. Small corrections that turned weak metal into something dependable. And when the hammer stopped, the village felt it. Because without him, nothing stayed sharp for long. The earth was never gentle. Roots tangled beneath the soil. Stones hid where the plow couldn't see. Every day, iron met resistance. Plow blades scraped and shuddered. Axes bit into stubborn wood. Shovels bent under weight that refused to move. Tools wore down slowly, almost invisibly. A farmer noticed it first in his shoulders. Work taking longer, effort feeling heavier. The blade no longer cuts cleanly. The soil fought back harder. So he returned to the forge. Again and again, iron met fire, reshaped for another season. In the medieval world, tools were not expected to stay perfect. They were expected to endure. The new iron was expensive. Mining it required labor. Transporting it cost time and risk. Most families could not afford replacements often.
Can it be mended?
So repair became a way of life. Broken tips were reforged. Thin edges folded back into strength. Old tools were melted and reborn as new ones. Smaller perhaps, but still useful. Nothing truly disappeared. Even scraps on the workshop floor were saved, collected, and used again someday. This constant cycle of repair taught patience. People didn't chase new things. They learned to care for what they already had. And that mindset shaped more than tools. It shaped how people lived. Some iron tools survived longer than the hands that first held them. A shovel worn smooth where fingers had gripped it for decades. An axe head darkened by years of fire and rain. A knife sharpened so many times it no longer looked like it once did, yet it still worked. When someone died, their tools rarely left the village. They passed quietly to family, neighbors, or apprentices, carrying the weight of another life inside their scratches and dents. People recognized them. This was his, someone would say, turning the handle slowly. Iron remembered labor. Every mark told a story of fields turned, trees cut, roofs repaired before storms arrived. The metal grew thinner, but its purpose stayed the same. And in a world where life could end suddenly, tools became a kind of continuity, proof that work did not stop when one person was gone. Even iron had limits. Sometimes a blade cracked without warning. A plow struck a hidden stone too hard. An axe shattered at the worst possible moment. Silence followed. Because a broken tool was more than an inconvenience. It meant delayed work, lost hours, sometimes lost food. A single failure at the wrong time, during planting or harvest, could ripple through an entire season. People carried broken pieces carefully back to the forge, almost apologetically, as if they had failed the tool rather than the other way around. The blacksmith examined the damage. Some could be saved, some could not. And when a tool truly died, people felt the loss more than they expected, because they had trusted it. Iron rarely appeared in stories or songs. Kings were remembered, battles were written down. But the quiet presence of tools faded into the background, unnoticed. Yet almost everything depended on them. Houses stood because nails held beams together. Bread existed because plows opened soil. Firewood burned because axes cut trees into manageable pieces. Iron shaped ordinary life so completely that people stopped seeing it. It was simply there, reliable, familiar, essential. And maybe that was its greatest strength. It didn't demand attention.
Mama, these hurt.
It just worked. Time moved forward, slowly but steadily. New techniques spread from town to town. Better furnaces burned hotter. Smiths learned to shape stronger edges, thinner yet tougher than before. Work became a little faster. Forests fell quicker, fields opened wider. Villages expanded beyond what earlier generations thought possible. But the rhythm stayed the same. Heat, hammer, repair, repeat. Iron did not remove hardship. It simply made endurance possible for longer stretches of time. And people rarely noticed how much easier life had become, because each change arrived quietly, one improved tool at a time. Iron remembers pressure, the force of hammers, the resistance of earth, the grip of hands that depended on it every single day. It remembers winters when tools were repaired by candlelight, and summers when they worked from sunrise to dusk without rest. Most of those hands are forgotten now. No names, no stories written down. But the tools they shaped once carried entire lives forward, harvest after harvest, generation after generation. Iron was never glamorous. It was dependable. And sometimes, dependability is the most powerful thing a world can have. Today, iron tools sit quietly in sheds, workshops, and garages. They feel ordinary now, mass-produced, easy to replace, rarely repaired. A broken shovel is discarded. A dull blade is swapped for a new one. Few people think about the hands that once spent hours keeping a single tool alive. But for most of history, iron was never disposable. It was cared for, sharpened, repaired, passed forward. Each mark on the metal meant time, seasons of labor, mornings before sunrise, evenings when tired hands still cleaned and hung tools carefully for tomorrow. that civilizations are not built by grand moments alone, but by countless small acts of work, repeated day after day, with tools strong enough to endure.